Against this right back, Charlie, definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
There's always just that active red line defenders. I think it's like. There's always just that active red line defenders. I think it's like.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, bro. Come on.
I mean, with an intro like that, what more can I say? As the big man just said there, people deluded, I'm back again. One love to those of you tuned in on YouTube or Twitch. Apologies, people. So yeah, man, I hope you're doing well and safe. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and of course, good night. With it being the second day of the week, third if you're counting Sunday, I hope you're all in good health and your loved ones are as well. And I hope where you lot are concerned, you know, your personal and private lives are, you know, heading in the right direction. As usual, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and where obviously it applies, good night, man. Any talking points, feel no sort of way about getting them in, people. You lot make the platform. Anyone, what man said, anyone watch Ozark any good? I've watched it. It's bloody fantastic. Slow burner, but bloody fantastic. What am I watching at the moment? I'm watching something on Netflix. What's it called, man? I'm late to the party. It's like, I can't remember, but it's like about dreams and all of that sort of stuff. It's not called The Watcher. I don't know what it's called, man, but I know someone knows. It's lit anyways. Like, they got nightmares and dreams. It's not gonna make no sense, but yeah, it's a serious series, man. I've been trying to bang it out. Some people want to watch it with me, so I can't really do what I need to do in that regard. Smash the like button, people. But yeah, man, Jocelyn, whatever you said, loving the links to these big names as we're charging to Champions League. I hope so, but where the Champions League is concerned, where Mudruk, Joao Felix, Milinkovic, Savic, Locatelli, Zanolio, and the rest of them, the dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. We need to get the Bellingham even now, you know, rise. The dream is free. The hustle is sold separately. I'd love all of these players. I really would, but you got to pay top dollar. You have to get Champions League football to be able to afford that. So, yeah, man, while it's just, you know, it's nice to see us linked with these names. Even Osimhen's agents come out and said something. It's a different story whether we're going to sign people. Again, it's not been done yet, people, but tomorrow I'll be watching, I think 15 minutes before kickoff. It's 8:15 kickoff, so 8 o'clock. I'll be watching Spurs versus Man United with you. At this moment in time, in a good way, there probably won't be a PSV or Arsenal PSV watch along, people. Again, you will stay tuned. You'll be updated in due course, innit, people. It's nothing stressed. It's, yeah, man. The man, I think the players look tired. They should be, man. There's been bare games and there's more to come, man. What about Declan Rice? If we get top 4, we can get him, and for cheaper because his contract is running out and he's prem proven. Again, he's still going to cost top dollar. If you can, why not? Who wouldn't turn down Declan Rice? But for the sort of player he is, I mean, it's not in a disrespectful way because I like Rice. For the money, even with his contract running down, and last summer, probably if he doesn't sign a new deal, the last one for West Ham to kind of get their act together. If we did it, I wouldn't care, but just for his skill set, which is primarily winning the ball first in midfield and anything you do is second, I think I'd want to really splash that on more guys that are more likely to score goals, get assists, get people out of their seats, really. I think we need some players with a bit of stardust and X factor, not saying some players haven't got that already. So, yeah, you know, if you've got Declan Rice, who's a box-to-box midfielder, somewhat more of a reserved ball-winning midfielder, you could say just a 6 more than an 8. I'd rather splash the cash on an 8 than a 6, really, if that makes sense, man. Neves or Declan Rice. Neves be cheaper. I'd rather Declan Rice because I think in terms of players, it's lit, but I think Neves would still be expensive, but he'd be a bit cheaper. But yeah, I would like Declan Rice, really, man. Him and Eddie Nketiah can bless the beef, but yeah, man, Rice, Neves is probably cheaper. I'm loving all the pundits writing us off. I still think City will run away. They have the Terminator up front. It's true, Mark, but as I said yesterday, F what they think. Like whether they rate Arsenal or don't rate Arsenal, they're not they're not Arsenal fans, they're not Arsenal players, they're not connected to the club. Forget what they say. Let them write their headlines, man. They can write us up, they write us off, they can big us up to be the next league challenges and fight in City. I personally, anyone can, you lot are free to do what you want, but I don't care. They don't even believe half the things they say. The media don't have integrity. Their point is all they want is engagement. So yeah, that's it, man. Anyone that can help us win titles, I hope so, bro. Big up yourself, Marcel. Big up DG. I can't lie, I could see Felix at Arsenal. I think he would cook. I've always rated him very highly, but I think he made a bad move by going to Atletico based on how they're playing, wasting his talent. Money talks, in it, and obviously he's an attacking footballer. So if you go and play under a different dynamic, defending and stuff, it should make you slightly more of an all-round player. But I agree with what you're saying. Like, how can I respectfully, because Griezmann was doing things at Atletico and Simeone's won stuff, but for a defensive primary coach, how can an attacking primary player really thrive? And there's rumors of going back to Portugal. He's linked with Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United. George Mendes is his agent. That's probably where, beyond the obvious, the Arsenal rumors come from. Obviously, same agent as Fabio Vieira. Since Edu's walked in the door, we've been getting a bit cozier with Kaya Jarupkin, with George Mendes, and maybe even a couple of others, really. Shout out Jason, and one love to the Twitch folk out there, man. Without you lot, it wouldn't be the same, man. Neves will be 26 and have 12 months left on his contract next summer. 30 million should do it. Could do, or you never know. Felix is a risk and not guaranteed to succeed at Arsenal. Just look at Darwin Núñez. I've no signings guaranteed to succeed. Even if pause, bad man, don't do that. But yeah, no one's likely to have success at Arsenal or any club really. Every signing is a risk, whether you spent $1 million or $2 million. As long as Arsenal have done their scouting and due diligence, every player is a risk. And we've been here before. With Pepe and things like that. So every signing's a risk. And for Núñez, I don't know if he'll hit the heights of those before him, but I think he'll work out. I hope not, but I think he'll work out at Liverpool. He needs to improve his decision-making in the final third, and he is raw. But he's doing all the right things apart from scoring. And even with Darwin Núñez, if Liverpool looked at it, which they should have, only 18 months ago, he was kind of rubbed at Almeria. He had a fantastic spell at Benfica. Potentially, Liverpool bought him too early because he has to learn the tricks and trades of his game. Salah went and learned, got better at Liverpool, but he was at Fiorentina. He was doing a couple other things. Mane did what he needed to do at Southampton. Jota's not quite in them man's level, but there was a certain experience factor he came with after when he joined Liverpool from Wolves. So every signing's a risk, bro. Whether they're signed for 2 million or 10, Marie was a risk. It didn't work out. William was free, excluding the wages. It was a risk. Didn't work out. Pepe was a risk. Martinelli, in essence, is a risk. It worked out. I would love for us to get Frankie de Jong. That's the one player we ain't been linked with that as of yet, people. But yeah, man, I'm glad we're not favouring people's eyes. Just keep winning Arsenal, bro. All I care about is Arsenal getting back in Champions League. Anything that happens beyond that is great. Any other talking points is great. I love the talk around, fighting City because it's better than, are we gonna get fourth and all these problems? But I don't know why Arsenal fans are a bit insecure. I'm not gonna lie, man. The media, they don't like us. So why are we always rushing to prove them, to try and slate them and things? If someone don't like you and they're never gonna rate you, it's meaty. Ivan Toney may be a smarter buy for cheaper and has Premier League experience. Well, yeah, but then Joao Felix, I'd rather take the risk if I'm honest with you. I wouldn't quite say smarter. But yeah, you are right. There's a lot you'd have to adapt. Players look tired, bro. That's worrying signs. Afraid we're going to drop points in upcoming games. Well, we're not going to win every game to the end of time. I expect them to be tired. There's been 9-10 games which have been physically draining every game. Liverpool took high energy levels. Spurs did, as did Brentford, even though we brushed them aside, really, as did the, Leeds. It should happen. We've had the Europa League where we've had to play stronger sides because of whether we don't have a squad or that's what Arteta wants to go with. This is what comes with it. Liverpool, when they were fighting for titles, they should be tired. You think them City, man, for all their depth, they're not tired? Of course, there's there's issues in that regards. We're going to have to get on with it, really. Simple as that. I would take Lemay. I can't say his name, Kai, but I would take him from Leipzig. Shout out to you, Jay. Whatever you said, big up DG, Declan Rice and Gundogan, Gunga Peas. If you know, works for me, man. I'm hungry. Make sure you get something to eat, man. I watch basketball. Arsenal fans remind me of Knicks fans in every way. Bro, they don't rate us, bro. They don't rate our players. They belittle our players. Who cares, bro? If think about it in life. If some man or some woman don't like you and you do well, they're never going to praise you. So why do we care? Like, why do some Arsenal fans actually care about the media? By all means, keep getting onto the refs. But There's no point crying wolves, oh, the media don't give us this, that, and the other. Forget all of that, man. Wasting brain cells. But fair enough if that's what you lot want to do, man. I'm not with it though, man. Yeah, no surprise they're tired. Just shows how much we need more players. Amen, man. Amen. We need a lot more players. I think the Leeds game in general, like what you lot are saying, we clearly need more depth in our squad. And things like that. But I think the Leeds game showed me that we need an 8 that can control games, not just necessarily when teams are sitting back. We need someone, because that is a form of defense, how you hold on to the ball. You look at what City do. And I think we need a 6 either to play instead of Partey, not saying he was bad against Leeds, or come on instead of him, or come on and try and give us a bit more dynamism and fight. You know, if we could, I would say, and if I in absolute dream world for Arsenal between January and next summer, excluding outgoings, if you could bring me a wide man that's able to play on the left and the right, maybe even up front, 2 8s and a 6 in midfield, a left side, a centre back, maybe that's a bit more experienced than what we've got. Pardon me, if you could, a more left-sided one. And I would still look for fullbacks, really. I can't lie, I'm moving away from the whole left-back one now, but if you could bring in a right-back and a left-back, not that well, I don't want to say we don't need it, but especially on the left-hand side, everyone's fighting. But I would say that, really, and shout out to Matt Turner. If you got a backup goalie there, then I would be looking at that, really. Introduction thoughts, let's call it that. So yeah, man, Declan Rice, half of these players, Neves, what you lot are saying. Shout my beige and tug, shout the YouTube members 2-3. I hope you're doing well and safe. Josh, whatever you said, I feel more natural 8 and a natural winger is necessary because I see Felix in the same mode as Vieira and being able to play in these positions, but they're good as playing in the favoured position at a 10. I mean, Joao Felix would be lit. He can play as a false 9. Arteta would love that. You know, can play as a 10, can play out wide. You know, with time, I actually think he could play as an 8. You know, he's a good dribbler, plays with his head up, good in the final third. Obviously, you'd have to give him time to adapt and stuff to Arteta's tactics. But, you know, obviously, Arteta and Simeone are very different. But there'd be a lot of things that he's learned under Simeone that I believe he would, if again, the dream is free, the Arsenal was sold separately. If we ever did sign him off the ball, people don't talk about it. But if you're not good defensively, Arteta don't play you. It's what you do off the ball, like with Pep. It's what you do off the ball that means you play. If you listen to how he speaks about Fabio Vieira, that might be why you're not starting necessarily. So in terms of pressing, in terms of off the ball, in terms of needing to defend and smart fouls and dark hearts, Felix would have that. And obviously, Joao Felix, he's got a wealth of experience for this young squad, really. It's not quite Odegaard and Jesus experience, but he's dealt with a price tag. He's been this Portuguese wonder kid. He's been at Atletico where they've been in better times and worse. You know, he plays for his country at international level. Why not, man? But who knows? He might want to join his Portuguese brethren and at Man United, even though we've got a Portuguese speaker revolution thing going on. After this live stream, people, at some point, make sure you got your notifications on because it didn't upload in time, but I have done the loan report, people, for those of you who care. So it'll be there. It actually takes energy to stay carrying trust. Forget all of that. Would Felix be covered for Gabriel Jesus? He could play out there. Bless up, DJ. I'm saying this with chest that if we sign a quality number 6 along with Gakpo in January, we will win the league. I like Mudruk, but not for 65 million. Stay blessed, bro. I hear you, Nicholas. I don't know about any of that, but big up you and the rest of the optimistic ones. Bellingham's a dream. Like, I do think Arsenal could put a project together, could put the finances together, but then you're competing against Real Madrid and Pep and things like that. Put yourself in Bellingham's shoes. You might want to sign for Arsenal because we've got the young leader thing going on and the revolution and things. But if Pep asks for you, you've got Ireland in your ear as well. You're with half of the players that you're with on international duty. Selfishly, I would probably lean towards Pep because everything I think I know about football, Pep is going to flip it all on its head and he's going to give me a serious education. Real Madrid are on to him. We don't need to explain what Real Madrid are on, really. And it's probably the best time for a young player somewhat to join Real Madrid because in my 27 years, you had to be the finished sort of article to go Real Madrid, really. You had to be Ronaldo when it was bought for 80 million, Kaká when he was bought, and these sort of, obviously Marcelo was bought there as a kid and there's a couple other exceptions, but you know, Vinicius needed a couple of years to get going. Rodrigo's there. They've got Valverde, who I don't know why him, Militao, and Bear Dons weren't nominated for the Ballon d'Or. I don't even know how Real Madrid didn't win. Big up Benzema. Don't even know how Courtois didn't rank higher, and I don't even know how they didn't get best club in the world or whatever the thing was. But you know, there's young things going on there, really. Valverde's so underrated, I feel, when it comes to all of them. So that's that for Bellingham as well. You got Madrid, I don't think he'll go PSG, but there's that. Everybody, you know, United did try to get you. We look a bit better than them, but they've still got that thing about them being Man United. If Man United could have a chance, we could as well. But you've got City and Real Madrid, and Real Madrid, the prestige speaks for itself. City, it speaks for itself. So again, you'd need other targets, man. When City came to the Emirates, you can beat them. They need to start picking up some L's for the sake of the league. As a fan of the game, I want to see more teams challenging at the top. Tired of City now. I think the Premier League, long gone are the days, like, if you go back to the early 2000s, the best way to pull off a result or something against a team better than yours or a bigger club than you would be to sit back for 90 minutes, frustrate them, and then take the little opportunities. Now, it doesn't matter if it's Arsenal, Liverpool, City, teams that are not this. Anytime it's a crazy game is when Chelsea, is when teams have a go against you. They say, you know what, you lot are good. You're better than us at this, but we could be better than you at this. Football's just, we got to go out and do this thing, really. Do you really think Edu can lyrics Joao Felix? Probably not. Ballon d'Or Benz, how? Allow it, man. Oh, I read that wrong, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. There were some questionable decisions, man. There were some questionable decisions, even when it comes to that Copa thing. You like, don't get twisted. Gavi's my guy. I still think, let me be real, I still think he's coasting off the Euros performances and things like that. Obviously, Pedri won it last year, so they were never going to buck him it again. I'm a big fan of Gavi, but lately, all it is just fouling, man, really and truly. And I was a bit, I don't really care, but I was a bit disappointed for Saka to see my man ranked 8th. I don't agree with that. I don't think he should be first, you know, because again, you lot can't even see. You know, and they're all talented young players, man. All talented young players. Is it sharing my screen? Can you lot see my screen? What's going on here? This is weird. Oh, now I can see that my screen's been shared. No complaints about Camavinga, Bellingham, Musiala. Gavi probably shouldn't win that, but should be in the top 5. I can't lie. Nuno Mendes has been great for PSG, but in terms of what's been going, I'm not saying he's not a better player than Saka and what he does, but I think Saka should be in that top 5. I don't think he should be 8th. And I'm looking, and I don't want to do it to a fellow fullback, but I don't think Mendes should be there. I can deal with the Musiala thing. I could deal with the Jude Bellingham thing. I think Bellingham or Camavinga probably should be taking first spot, really. You could even make a case of Musiala over Gavi. And I'm not trying, listen, Gavi's my guy, innit? But I don't agree with, I don't really care. But yeah, man. It's a, you know, big up Saka for ranking 8th as well, really. Is that 2 tied for 6th? That don't really make sense. But anyway, who cares about any of that? Big up my guy, Sourcing. Look at him, man. So proud of you, man. I used to see you in the Checo Trade Trophy, and now look at you looking all dapper and that, man. Shout out Saka. It's a joke, but this is what I don't care, man. Forget it. But Real Madrid are getting shagged in it from half of these awards. So how can I, as an Arsenal fan, complain? And this is why I say, forget the media, forget all these things. It's voting for their brethren. It's like Beacom's footy blacklist award, where it's 30 under 30 a couple of years ago. I should have defo been on out of influential youths 30, you know, one of them. And no disrespect to anyone who's there, but when you go through it, they've done what man's done. You know, it's people voting for their brethren. It's industry dons just sucking each other off. Pardon my language. So yeah, man, forget the media, forget all of that sort of stuff. It's a shag, man. From Henri didn't win Ballon d'Or, I don't give a flying monkeys about none of that. So yeah, man, forget that. Would love Camavinga in the Jacaro, I would, man. But dream is free. Arsenal bias, how, bro? You can't say Saka should be in the 5. I didn't even say win it. I think Bellingham should have won it, really, or Camavinga. But if you're honest with you, obviously Camavinga's helped Real Madrid when he's come off the bench, but Bellingham's been badding it up week in, week out for Dortmund. I think Bellingham should have won it. There's no bias. You know, you look at the facts, you know, whether Arsenal are achieving anything or not, Saka is playing week in, week out. And doing quite well. Any other 21-year-old's going to get gassed up. And I don't care for how good Saka can or can't be for the purpose of this conversation, but he's the first player to have been involved in 50 goals for Arsenal under Mikel Arteta in all comps. He's got 24 assists and 26 goals, and there's many other stats. He's one of the top goal scorers at Arsenal, you know. So is Aubameyang, to be fair, but at Arsenal since Arteta took over. Like, again, I'm not saying Saka's the biggest and baddest, because I don't think he is, but in terms of young players performing, he's doing his thing. Like, what am I talking about? Anyways, forget about any of that, man. I think Bellingham should have won it again. Amen. Don't worry, Saka coming first when we win the league. I don't know, man. I can see why you'd say Gavi's overrated, and I could just say, you know, ignorance is bliss. Respectfully, I have to hope he proves you wrong. I definitely don't think he's overrated, but I definitely feel in the last few games, all man's doing is slide tackling. His best highlight is getting slapped by Benzema recently. We'd rather 230 midfielders than 165 million winger in the squad. I hear that. DG, realistically, from what we know, we should go for Danilo or Telemans and a winger we haven't been linked with. Boy, I don't know. They're just going to have to get it done, man. Just get something done. I can't wait till Smith Rowe's back either, my guy. I feel like so much talent hasn't been hoovered up by big clubs last summer. I couldn't name 5 great winger options for us. Boy, good thing it's down for Arteta and these lot. Even if them pundits gave us praise and credit, it means nothing for us. We just need to stay switched on and focus on what we're doing. The rest is noise. Again, amen. Players like Harry Kane play 90 minutes every 3 games. If you want to be a big player, you've got to be prepared to do this. Amen. Because in the Champions League, for those that are able to be here, there's less rotation. So they're going to have to get on with it. 58 likes, people. Come on, mate. What's all this about? Twitch gang, you're doing amazing. But moving forward, subscribe with Amazon Prime for free if you're on Twitch as well. Supports the channel and that. Happy birthday, South London's finest. Come on. Appreciate you. Get out of here, man. Go enjoy your birthday, man. Go get the rare Nef, man. The list was fair. The other players are playing in the Champions League. That's great. But, you know, what have they actually done? What is football not meant to be admiring what people are doing at the purest level? If there's a Champions League bias, then quite a few players shouldn't be there. What did Nuno Mendes do in the Champions League in the grand scheme of things? Had a couple good games. But I don't really care. I'm not here to debate. You know, the Champions League don't really mean much if we're just talking about young players, really. Because if you're talking about Champions League, what the hell has Barca done? What the hell has Barca and Gavi specifically done in the last 18 months? The biggest highlight in Europe is for crying. Frankfurt fans, how did they get tickets for the Nou Camp? I don't think, well, it is fair because Saka's been thingied, but I think he should rank about 5th. I don't think Saka should be ahead of Gavi or Bellingham or Musiala. Who else was on that list? Camavinga. Obviously, Pedri won it last year, so he's never going to get it again, innit? Man said Gavi's is no vision. I don't know about that, bro. I hate that. Gavi's a serious player, man, in my opinion. Bellingham getting too much gas, I can't lie. Good player, but easy. He hasn't done anything yet. You could argue on the top 5 of that, he's done more than arguably half of them players on that. Out of the top 5 guys that were ranked for that Cooper Award, you could argue Bellingham's done a lot more. Why is the comment not coming up? Telemans for 20 million, Essential for 25, and Dika for 3 next season, and we should be actually competing for top trophies next season. Any of them signings make you think title challenge? I don't know. I don't know how much we got in the transfer window. I don't know who to sign, bro. I really don't know who Arsenal should be signing. Just know what I want in terms of the skill set. I see Arsenal and Real Madrid battling it out in years to come for Kings of Europe. We just need to sprinkle the glitter on the team. I would love so, but, you know, you've got to become a consistent Champions League qualifying club, challenge for the title consistently, perform against the top 6 home and away consistently, then take that and do better with Europe, deal with the squad depth issues, you know, deal with the need to want to win every game. Then maybe you can get into a scenario where you can talk about Kings of Europe. I don't know where Nicholas, I hope so with these young players, but I don't know where you've seen that or got inspiration from that. But one day, hopefully, man. I would love us to have Neves. He can play as an 8 or a 6. Wilson, you're not alone, man. We should be looking at Tossart at least on loan. With his contract running down, the loan's out of the question, really, isn't it? Really and truly, there's going to be no chance of that. It's either you buy him permanently or you keep it moving. Listen, it's much like the players shouldn't listen to the fans, shouldn't listen to the pundits. 1 minute they praise you, then they hate you. Just listen to your gaffer. Just acknowledge the fact that you ain't achieved anything, and you keep doing, and you just keep going, man. What do you think we can do if we want to win the Prem this season? Just keep doing what we're doing, picking up results. If you can, bring some in January, and pray to God everybody stays fit and this form continues. Like, I still think City are going to run away with it. You know, I'd rather Arsenal finish 2nd than 4th, but you know, if it's not in the grand scheme of things, qualifying for the Champions League is qualifying for no reason. But I don't care I'd love to be 1st. So if you can finish 1st or 2nd, great. But 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, just make sure you're in the Champions League next season, or there has to be question marks. I don't know where we point the fingers, but yeah, man. I don't get the love for Neves. He's 26. If he was all that, he'd be playing for a Champions League side already. Bit harsh. We've got a very long way to go to where Kings of Europe. Arsenal fans are shameless. Can't blame them, man. Can't blame them. Let's just, you know, you've got to crawl before you can run, man. And in between, you got to learn how to walk. We're skipping stages. Let's just keep doing what we're doing, man. And just keep developing and doing what we're doing, man. We're in October. We've played 10 games. There's 84 points or something like that up for grabs. There's 28 games left. While I like the optimism, let's just relax a tiny bit. Not that I want you to relax for the sake of it, people, because the same people that, not saying anyone here, but the same people that are waffling, Arsenal will do this, that, and the other. The minute we lose, or there's 3 games, we've got 2 draws and a win, or 1 win and 2 losses, they're completely going to do a complete turnaround. So just keep balance, man. When everybody's optimistic, have a bit of caution. When everybody's cautious, take the risk off. Just be balanced, man. Take the rough and the smooth, and we try and make it better every game. Hopefully, we could do a thing, man. I think we all take Joao Felix, man. Players need to stay focused on what the gaffer is teaching on the pitch and their opponents. As for us fans, we need to stop listening to these pundits who are like the wind, double-minded in their ways of thought. We should try our hardest to get De Jong. He would be perfect. I'd love that, but boy, dream chase. But who knows, man? He seems like he's vexed at Barcelona. Who knows, man? He did say he pictured his career path to be Ajax, Arsenal, and Barcelona. United were close to grabbing him. So hopefully we can, if we get Champions League, we can convince, man. But you have to put the bag down. And where's the bag coming from? You know, I don't know how much money you get for qualifying for the Champions League, but it should mean there's more money to spend. Obviously, it all depends on how much the purse strings Kroenke is going to buck, how much money that we might have saved in the transfer kit already. Probably, you know, where Pepe is concerned, Marie, you know, we're going to have to get rid of these players and try and free up resources, whether that's wages and transfer fee, before you could probably go for these big bad talents. But I hope Ian Wright is right, and these dons are waiting for Arsenal to get Champions League to play for us, man. The hustle is, you know, the hustle is sold separately from the free dream, man. Tony Zaha and the centre defensive mid would make us serious contenders, but I'm dreaming, I know. Eddie is improving, but too slowly. For me, patience is a virtue, man, but too much patience can hurt you. There's not enough ex-Arsenal pundits on TV. Be harsh, you know. Do see a couple, but tell them to get in the media game then. Betting markets making probability of top 4 finishing around 80%, so be a disaster. If not, I think we are more like 95%. I hear that. Big up yourself, Fire. Big up DG. We need 2 more good signings. A backup for Partey and Jesus, in my opinion. Eddie still is in it. He's developing, but again, it's very with Eddie now. I have to judge you as the second choice striker. So if what I'd like to happen in a good way, in that Jesus and Saliba get yellow cards against Southampton, we should have enough respectfully to Nottingham Forest, regardless, to get through that. Again, you have to go out there and win. And then they're back for Chelsea. But yeah, man, Eddie's chances come in. If God forbid if something happens to Jesus, then you're relying on Eddie. And I think he's a calm squad player. I don't think he's quite the option. You know, Smith Rowe was fit. I'm probably more likely to try Martinelli through the middle and insert Smith Rowe via, the left-hand side, then Eddie through the middle. But he is developing. He's doing everything but not scoring. And it's difficult when, excluding the Europa League, you're only getting a couple of opportunities. But if I'm honest with you, he could have scored. He could have scored in the last Europa League game against Fulham. He was a big reason we actually came back into that game. But he did have chances to score. And it's difficult, but nonetheless, that is that. Keep your thoughts on that coming, folks, people. We might as well, just because I want to, we might as well look at the latest news very quickly as well, people. Latest news. Oh, we need caps. Latest news. Let's do the thumbnail. Let's do the timestamp. I wouldn't mind Drewsby Hall, but I wouldn't say Xhaka replace me. He can come and be part of the squad. Quite underrated player. I don't think he's amazing, but I think he can get a lot better. I think he's decent still. I'll take Drewsby Hall for the squad. I don't know about replacing Xhaka, but yeah. First thing I want to draw you lots of attention to: Saka, Martinelli, and Saliba. Arsenal's contracts are a delicate balancing act, people. Right now, we're top of the league, 4 points clear of Man City and Tottenham Hotspur. Obviously, the young players, William, Saliba, Martinelli, and Saka are shining. Saka finished 8th on the Copper Trophy thing. Martinelli's scoring goals. Saliba, finally, after a long period where it looked like he might stay, he might go, we're finally over the hill, excluding this contract stuff, people. And there's rumors in the back burners of Gabriel, of Xhaka, of Ramsdale, all getting new deals, as we could have expected. All 3 are in contract talks with the club. It seems trite, I can't say that word, to say the club should extend their deals. That much is obvious. Arsenal know it, and what's more, they're confident they can do it. The subject of how and when those deals might be agreed, however, is rather more complicated. So yeah, I'm trying to scroll out through the Tosh, people. Arsenal's challenge is to strike a balancing act to agree all those important contracts without upsetting the new wage structure they have so painstakingly implemented. But it comes with the territory. You're going to have to give man big wages. Look at what Haaland's getting. I'm not saying, definitely with what we've been doing recently, we've put mediocre players on average wages and struggled to get rid of it. But rewarding players, giving new contracts, putting down top money in terms of a transfer fee for players, and obviously giving them deals that they deserve. It has to happen, really. So, yeah, by all means, these lot deserve new deals. And you'd imagine Odegaard's in line for a new deal in a few years as well, really. Or him, Ben White, Odegaard, Ben White. Jesus has just got here, but probably him, Tomiyasu, Ramsdale, as we've said previously, and you can see here. But yeah, time is of the essence. Although there has been suggestions Saliba and Saka's contracts may run until 2025, they only go as far as 2024, even with clauses. In Saliba's case, his deal actually expires next summer, 2023, but Arsenal hold an option to extend until the following year. Likewise, Saka's deal does not extend beyond 2024. Martinelli's contract expires in 2024, but Arsenal have the option of a further 2 years. So with that, Saliba and Saka is more priority. You know, for Saka, for me, it's a case of when, not if. Saliba, I'm confident, but if I'm him, I'm running it down as long as I can. You've got a World Cup, you're playing well. Back of your mind, you weren't always in the plans. You can get more money and things like that, get a very important contract. Martinelli's, we've clearly got a lot of wiggle room, really. Although there's enormous focus on all three of these players, each case is unique. Negotiations with Saka are the most advanced. Arteta described him as described himself as very confident an agreement be reached, a sentiment Saka has echoed. Arsenal prioritized Saka's contract above all others during the summer, obviously, because Martinelli's form weren't what he was doing now. Saliba, Arteta planned to use him, but he weren't what he is now to Arsenal. Saka was, so okay. And made significant headway during the summer. It now appears a question of when, not if, a contract is finalized. In Martinelli's case, it is still relative early days. That's partly because Arsenal have a more secure position. The 2-year option would take his contract up until 2026. Nevertheless, negotiations are underway on a revised deal that reflects Martinelli's improved standing as a regular first-team player. Like Saka, Martinelli is clear he wants to stay at Arsenal, which gives the club significant reassurance in negotiations. Some fans may wonder why Arsenal are contemplating giving Martinelli a new deal, given he only signed his last in 2020. Wasn't that Saka as well? And is theoretically under contract for another 4 years. However, those contracts are not simply about holding on to players and protecting the club. They are agreements made in good faith, and it is implicate that good performances will be rewarded. That's true. Arsenal could simply sit tight and activate the optional extra years, but what would that do to the relationship with Martinelli and his agents? One issue that Arsenal face is that a new deal set a precedent for the next. Already, the forward pair of Balogun and Nketiah have taken advantage of precarious contract situations to win lucrative new deals. With the media full of reports of those salaries, they become reference points in the future negotiations. Arsenal will know that whatever salary they reward Saka will doubtlessly be cited by Martinelli's agents, as we've discussed before. Of the three players, Saliba's negotiating position is arguably the strongest. His stock seems to rise with each game. Don't know about the Leeds one. The option in his contract takes it as far as 2024. But in this peculiar scenario, preserving, perhaps even rebuilding, the relationship with the player and the agent is of paramount importance. Saliba is still on the contract drawn up by Hos Fahmy and Raul Sanllehi in the summer of 2019, though there were clauses built in to ensure his remuneration. I know what the word means, but I don't know. Rose, obviously, just get more peace. Rose, with his development, his reps will still feel there's significant room for improvement. It's worth noting that all of these players have a chance of World Cup involvement. Saka and Saliba appear certainties to be selected, performing on that global stage. I mean, apart from Saka, maybe Saliba, but Saka, I mean, Saliba and Martinelli don't expect them to be main players like that at the World Cup. You'd expect Saka to play a decent amount if he does go with England. I say if. Maybe Ben White should go as well. Could see their value and subsequently their demands rise again. Where possible, Arsenal would be well advised, smash the like button, people, to make significant progress before the tournament kicks off in Qatar. In each case, Arsenal will make an evaluation based on the player's age, contractual situation, development potential, standing with the coaching staff and statistical profile. Technical recommendations will be made by Edu and Arteta, while Director of Operations Richard Garlett will be charged with drawing up terms. There is autonomy, but there is oversight too. Every major stage of contract talks involves dialogue between the management team, the chief executive, and the board. Obviously, we all remember we had the Champions League wage bill on the Europa League budget. Obviously, Pepe was costly and it didn't work. Aubameyang's new contract didn't work. Ozil's contract didn't work. Lacazette, 52 million, never got 20 league goals. Praise him, man, for working hard. Good player, but didn't work. So, yeah, I think it's a bit different because these players deserve it. But, you know, it is what it is. And if we qualify for the Champions League, there's more P's as well. The challenge Arsenal may face is that should they qualify for the Champions League, players and agents may expect Champions League wages. Arsenal hope to mitigate against that and have discussed the inclusion of performance clauses related to CL qualification. In doing so, Arsenal could avoid a costly disparity between their financial commitments and their European status. They are happy to pay Champions League salaries, provided they're actually in the Champions League. A new contract for Aaron Ramsdale is also on Arsenal's agenda. Although he only joined the club in 2021, he has since established himself as number one and is a regular part of the England national setup. There's acknowledgement on all sides that he should be rewarded with a salary more in line with the first choice keeper at a top six club. Another issue for Arsenal is the domino effect. As soon as they give out one contract, other players and reps will inevitably come knocking. Tomiyasu signed for the club on a relative modest salary, and should he regain a regular place, he will hope to see that addressed. Patino's contract expires at the end of the season. Arsenal have an option to trigger a 2-year extension, but there's a deadline on that clause, and no contract talks have yet taken place. Arsenal's position in the summer was to focus on transfer business rather than contract renewals, but it's created something of a backlog. And as you know, Patino's probably, you know, it's got 2 years, you know, Saka priority from what we've read, Saliba next, Martinelli, Ramsdale, Patino because the contract's running down. And then you've got the Tomiyasus, the Ramsdales, the Ben Whites who are under contract, but in terms of rewarding people, doing things, people. So, yeah, it is what it is there. So, yeah, I think that's that in relation to them contracts. Flicking back over to good old Google Chrome, people. One love for you lot being tuned in. Let's start from here, man. I know some of you wanted Rafa Leao. Rafa Leao update. AC Milan board will meet with his father to discuss about the contract situation. There will be a new proposal in the next days. His current deal expires in 2024. There's a 150 million euro release clause. We're confident to sign a new deal. And he's obviously, Chelsea's the main club linked with him. I mean, Goal.com links us with a whole load of madness in it, people. Like you can see Joao Felix, you could see Lautaro Martinez, new contract terms for Xhaka, as we've discussed a few days ago, people. You know, his current deal expires in 18 months, but Arsenal understood to have an option to extend it for another year until the summer of 2025, people. Yeah, Arsenal and Chelsea are battling for Robert Renan. You know, we're out of the Douglas Luiz race. Leave that to Roma. Ivan Ndika, maybe, potentially. We're always linked with him, so I don't know. Do I rate Charlie Patino? Yeah, 100%. Doing the right thing. Loan report dropping after this live stream. I'm going to upload it. He's doing quite well at Blackpool, sorry. You're on 83 likes now as I press the like button right now. John, good man. Appreciate that. So yeah, moving on, people. Again, do you remember when we was linked with Rodrigo de Paul? I don't know if it's an avenue for Arsenal to explore. He left Udinese and went to Atletico, and it seems they're willing to sell. Juventus have been linked with him. A couple of clubs have been linked with him. He's valued at 35 million euros, 28 years of age. Maybe that's something to explore in the summer, people. I still like him. I ain't been watching Atletico as much as I was watching Udinese for this guy, but you don't turn a bad player overnight. It could be an avenue to extend to explore really and truly, maybe on loan, potentially permanently. And again, apparently AC Milan and Juventus are interested in the pool. Could we get involved there? It hasn't worked out for him at Atletico. Victor Osimhen's been linked with us and his agent has spoken. Well, I don't know if Arsenal bidded. I don't know if United bidded, but his agent's chatting again. Our will is to continue at Napoli. What has he said here, people? He's insisted his client always intended to remain in Naples and that he's not considering switching clubs right now. We have found out that Osimhen we haven't found out that Osimhen is the subject of interest from so many teams, but things are done in free. Who sells, who buys in the player. But yeah, but why I don't really care about this, unless you can tell us that there's been concrete bids, it doesn't mean anything. You can say you want to stay and all of those sort of things. I was immediately clear this summer because I knew there would be a lot of news coming out from those who had other interests, perhaps. But I, the boy in Napoli, had very clear ideas. Whoever talked about a departure made a mistake. It was Victor's will to stay at Napoli and play in the Champions League that he won entry to last year together with his teammates. Victor wanted exactly that, if we're getting anyone from Napoli, I'd rather, try and bid that. I can't even say his name, but the Georgian lad who plays on the left wing. But you're gonna have to put down top Wonga for him. He has a long contract with Napoli. The market is dynamic, but our will is to continue at Napoli. So, yeah, you lot do your thing. He's under contract till 2025. I think that one's shot at the moment, people. 3 possible destinations for Milinkovic-Savic. People were continuously linked with him. He's been linked with PSG, Juventus, and Arsenal. I can't lie, not to be sour. The Premier League maybe could get competitive wages, but it seems like Juventus just take the best players from other teams in Italy. PSG would be a good signing. And again, you'd earn, the tax laws in Paris are a lot kinder, and you'd be around Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe. And then Arsenal. So, yeah, man, 27, I'd have Milinkovic-Savic, but you probably have to wait till the summer to even consider that. Arsenal, no. DiMarzio says 23-year-old will only join Tottenham if he moves to the Premier League. So he doesn't want to win any trophies in Olio Dia. And, DiMarzio isn't his dad. He's not an agent, so we don't know. But with the Conte and Patrici links over there at Spurs, it makes sense. Zenolio only had one request in the summer, and that was Tottenham. Tottenham tried to get him, but with a swap deal with other players or a loan option. Roma didn't want to sell the player under those conditions. Arsenal or other clubs, no. Only Tottenham can come back. Tottenham sporting director Fabio Patrici is one of the managers Zenolio has wanted for a long time, even when he was at Juventus. Okay, so you do what you want to do with Zenolio then, innit? Really? Joao Felix has reportedly asked super agent George Mendes to help him leave Atletico Madrid in January, with Arsenal one of the clubs interested in the Portuguese international. People ain't really worked out for him. There's financial issues, implications that could happen with Atletico messing about in the league and obviously making a meal of the Champions League. We've all seen him liking stuff on social media about returning back to Benfica and leaving and joining the team where you can do a thing. He's going to continuously be linked with Man United because of their Portuguese links and because of their need for probably strikers, and he can play as a false 9. I'd have him at Arsenal. Chelsea with Todd Burr, he could buy anyone. Apparently Barcelona inquired. And obviously his agent is George Mendes, same as Fabio Vieira, so it makes sense. But Arsenal would need to get Champions League football before this outlay, surely. But he was going to put 70-odd million down for Vlahovic, allegedly. Maybe you could find something for Joao Felix, but seems like quite the financial commitment when you haven't qualified for the Champions League and things like that. And obviously January in general is a difficult bit of business. Big up yourself, John. It's Deluded Gooner 04 on Instagram and Twitter and the rest of it, my bro. Love to see that. So yeah, that's Joao Felix. What's this? Well, that's just awesome, and don't care about that. Once again, United, Arsenal, Chelsea set to battle out for Atletico Madrid forward. United, Chelsea, saving the best to last. Arsenal are all set to battle it out for Joao Felix. He's yet to score in 5 starts. Boy. And he only got 24 league starts last year. Crazy. I don't know if we can believe this publication, but yeah, obviously they're going to need to replace Ronaldo. Chelsea and Todd Burr here are trying to buy anybody that's got somewhat of a name. I'd have him at Arsenal, but I don't quite get, we bought Gabriel Jesus. I'd like both of them. They can play in different roles and play together, but can't really see it, people. It just seems like nonsense, but the dream is free, the hustle is sold separately. So that's Joao Felix. Fabrizio Romano said, I can tell you during the summer, there were never negotiations between Arsenal and Chelsea for Kante. Never a bid, never approach. At the moment, nothing between Arsenal and Chelsea. And that's probably in line with apparently Chelsea are saying, you know what, no new contract for N'Golo Kante. So it is what it is in that regards, people. Moving away from that, Fabrizio Romano said the situation is really tense between Joao Felix and Atletico Madrid, especially with Simeone. The club insists he's not for sale, but his agent, George Mendes, is exploring potential solutions for 2023, people. So that tells you that they've got other ideas. January is a myth, in my opinion. Maybe after the World Cup. And what's this? This same outlet is saying, I guess, 3 possible destinations for Joao Felix in January. Manchester United, Chelsea, and Arsenal. So I'm not too sure. I think it's more realistic, probably Chelsea out of them, because they'll put the bread down. United, 1 minute, some reports say they ain't got money to spend. But it's Man United. They have got money to spend, innit? So I don't know. And I've just explained Arsenal, in it. So can't see that happening. Arsenal transfer target, asking price likely to have risen as high as 65 million euros, says Romano. Of course, Mudruk, with every game you play, it's going to get better. He's insisted that his transfer value is likely to have increased a lot since the summer transfer window. He said, and we've heard, the interviews about Mudruk talking about Arsenal. Ben Jacobs seems to be paying his journalistic bills by just talking about this guy. I continue to watch the development of Mudruk. His performances in the Champions League this season have been amazing, overdoing it. He's a player whose value has most likely shot up since the summer. Shakhtar Donetsk wanted around 50 million euros for him in August. Probably 40 million plus add-ons were enough. Today, I'm sure they want way more than 50 million for their star. It could probably be as high as 60, 65 million euros. And I don't blame them for wanting to sell to the highest bidder, really. You know, it is what it is. We've been linked with Jeremy Doku once again, people, and he's been linked with Liverpool, who tried to get him at 15, 16 years of age and have continuously tried. Chelsea and Arsenal, who we did the same thing. Napoli and Juventus. Is he ready for a step up yet? I'm not too sure, people, or for the outlay they'll be looking to spend. We've been linked with Lautaro Martinez, people. I don't know if I believe any of this, but yeah, I would have Lautaro Martinez if we could, but it's going to cost too much. DiMarzio has been speaking about a bunch of players, Lautaro Martinez to Bayern Munich, Harry Kane to Bayern Munich, and all of that sort of stuff. It's irrelevant because the only thing I care about, he spoke on Cody Gakpo, who we're facing on Thursday, and in a World Cup year where he wants to play for Holland, he's doing quite well, and where he's probably going to get a good move, probably to United, in my opinion. Not that I know anything, but he's got 13 goals and 10 assists in 16 games for PSV. DiMarzio said, obviously, he's linked with many clubs. I know him very well. He's a very, very good player. When you play in the Eredivisie with PSV and Ajax, you obviously learn intensity and quality. So the Premier League is the right move for him, for players like him. I think Manchester United, Arsenal, or Tottenham. And to play devil's advocate, I don't think he's wrong with what he said about, you know, the Eredivisie, PSV, or Ajax, or Cody Gakpo. But I'm now deep in. Apart from Lautaro Martinez, who's doing okay, who's really come from the Dutch league and done much in the Premier? It didn't really work out for Bergwijn. You know, Hakim Ziyech, he didn't bang. Davinson Sanchez, he didn't bang at Spurs. Memphis Depay didn't bang. There is probably a couple of exceptions to the rule, but no one's really come from the Dutch league, if off the top of my head, I stand corrected, and done much, really. So I'm not too sure. And even De Jong and De Ligt, they're good players and at two good clubs, but I thought they would have been more household names, if I'm honest with you, in world football. Tottenham, I think, need other players to have a wider squad and more manager choices. One of those teams, it depends on what PSV want. For him, I think Man United or Arsenal or Tottenham, for that matter, you know, Ruud van Nistelrooy probably putting a word in for United, are the right projects for quality and intense players like him. Of course, it's still too early to say if there's a deal or if clubs are talking to each other. We're in October. And of course, there's also the World Cup. So all transfers will be postponed. So it is what it is in that regards, people. Make of that what you will. Let's see what the Scum newspaper is saying. Pardon me. Just talk around contracts. Big up Mane, probably trying to get Saka to go buy-in, innit? Showing him love there. So, yeah, Arsenal predicted 14-year high. Arsenal are on target to reach 80 Premier League points for the first time since 2008. Keep it up then, innit? And we've seen that we've been linked with that. Ramsdale, we know you're a S Hauser. Saka was crowned 8th best youngster in the world. That's great for us, people. Atletico Madrid have joined the race to get Tossa, who's been linked with us and Chelsea. And we're targeting two new signings in January. Romano said they will keep going step by step, game by game, with the aim to improve the whole project with new contracts, new players in the future, and more. That doesn't say much, really. But the report believes that Telemans remains a midfielder they're strongly considering. Fair enough. How Real Madrid didn't get Club of the Year, I don't know. Real Madrid were in the final. Real Madrid beat them. Apparently, Arteta tried to support Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang in his final months at the Emirates. I will tell you something because I know something a little bit from the inside. Everyone knows something. I think he was trying to support the player as much as he could. Then after he couldn't, so he had a decision to make, and that's it. Oh, great. We learned a lot there, didn't we, with that Rafa Benitez? And that's a fact. So, yeah, it is what it is, people. Newcastle are considering a move for Szczesny. Eddie Howe, you might end up beating him up still. But, yeah, that's that. Peed off Lokonga, vents fury. Lokonga seems a bit like a spoiled child at times. I don't think he's wrong in anything he said. Really, he seems an opinionative man, but I would say roll your sleeves up if I'm honest with you. This is in relation to Roberto Martinez. I called him the other day after the international match in March. I was really peed off. I thought for a moment that I didn't even want to play for the national team anymore. Martinez said he preferred players who are playing regularly at their clubs. He was also not completely satisfied with my training, and the manager's allowed to think that. I don't think he can portray me as a bad boy who doesn't work hard, so Lokonga reckons he's looking at excuses. It'd be too easy to put up such a picture of me. He can't use something like that to justify why I don't get to play. Well, because you're not good enough, really, at the moment. If I'm already on the bench while Kevin De Bruyne, Hazard, and the other stars are there, then I don't stand a chance if they're in the selection. Maybe Martinez doesn't believe in my qualities or he doesn't like my style, but I'd rather he communicate that clearly. I would have accepted his decision without hesitation. You're allowed to think like that, but maybe he didn't, you know, in terms of going and spilling stuff to the public isn't going to say much, really. I mean, in the all or nothing, you do seem like a lad that feels a lot sorry for yourself, and you're allowed to. You should be thinking you should play well, but you've got to look inwards. I think there's a player in Lokonga, but we're going to have to tune it out, really and truly. He then said on Arsenal, honestly, it's difficult. I'm at one of the best clubs in England. I could have played somewhere elsewhere every weekend, but that wouldn't have been the right solution for me. It's a personal decision to stay at Arsenal. I wanted to give myself another year to stay at Arsenal and see what happens. At the end of last season, I almost snapped. I called my agent to ask him if staying at Arsenal was a good idea. He comforted me in my choice, even though I know I need to start more often to develop, get in the squad. Because right now you're probably behind El Nene if he's fit, because you know there's a base level of performance, even though I'd rather you play because you need to develop. But if we're talking about just ticking along to get top 4, I'd rather bet on El Nene, who might drop a 5 or 6 out of 10, respectfully, or better, or Lokonga, who might be 20 out of 10 one week, 2 out of 10 the next. So stop feeling sorry for yourself, pull your pants up and keep going. I like that you have that chip on your shoulder, and I think there's a player in there, but you don't fit the tactics right now. You're not experienced enough or mature enough to play as a lone 6. People say you can play as an 8, and I hope you can play as an 8 or a 6 and be adaptable, but Xhaka is more of playing the more 8 than I want to see than I imagine you. I would rather bring in 2 8s or 8 in the summer or January. I think when you've got Fabio Vieira, Smith Rowe, Zinchenko, and Odegaard, I'd rather explore all of them playing before you in that role. And then obviously you're not playing ahead of Partey at this moment. But I hope you develop. I think there's a player in there. So yeah, man, maybe to get in the World Cup squad, it was best going out on loan and things like that. But I understand why you want to stay, and we're all rooting for you, man. But pattern up. Gabriel has spoken on experiencing the time of his life. I think it's one of the best periods of my life at the moment. I'm learning more about life every day with everything that's happening to me. When you become a father, you change in many ways, and I'm delighted. I think the first season was tough. The second went better, and the third is just starting now. You're having a good season, man. You had a good game against Leeds, apart from the flashpoint people are trying to get onto you about. My ambition is to play in every game. We know how hard it is to go through a season playing in every game, but I like to try take good care of myself to help Arsenal at all times. Shout out Beth Mead as well, who finished the 2022 Ballon d'Or runner-up to go with Bukayo Saka finishing 8th in the Copa. Big up the Arsenal ones. My lone report out after this, people, once it uploads. Is there anything else on Arsenal.com? Doesn't seem like such there. So, yeah, people. It is what it is. Luis Suarez. Yeah, Suarez. Suarez is one. Suarez banged. But this is why I asked you lot, because, yeah, you're right. 100% Suarez banged. Done, you know, Suarez was a great player. But this is what I'm saying. You have to really go in the memory banks. I almost forgot Suarez at Liverpool now. You know, you're right. You're right. But who else? This is why I asked you lot. Like what? Suarez banged. Over exceeded expectations and then more. You know, I'm sure if you're a Norwich supporter out there, you don't like the name Luis Suarez, or if you're Ghanaian, obviously what he did at the World Cup. But yeah, Wijnaldum did all right at Newcastle eventually, and then went to Liverpool. It weren't like that. So yeah, so that's 2 names. Everyone else has not really done much. So yeah, it is what it is in that regard, man. Keep them coming. Blind, he did okay. Yeah, Blind did okay. Ericsson did all right. Vertonghen did all right. Toby did all right. Yeah, but you have to go through the memory banks for them. These are all done from years ago. So, yeah, you're right. But of recent, who's really done? No one's done nothing of recent. Laturo started well. Lissandro, better yet, has started well at United. Anthony, technically, he's a bit so-so, you know, depending on what game he's played. Ain't really worked out for Ziyech, Davinson Sanchez, them kind of Van der Beek, them kind of man. But Odegaard came from Madrid, though, innit? Technically, I know he went over there, but we didn't just buy him directly. We took him off Real Madrid. So that one can go to VAR, but it's looking a bit brand-new. But yeah, the point being, not too many of them. Sinistero looks okay. Funny you don't see Ben White complaining about Southgate when he has a much bigger case than Sambi. I mean, Sambi is allowed to do what he wants, but he does seem like a bit childish. But Ben White, you know what it is? It's just if you just shut your mouth, everyone's situation is different because Ben White's been to an international tournament, you know. What I would say, you're right, Ben White. Privately, he's probably saying he deserves to be there, as he should, but he's just keeping his mouth shut. Ramsdale, he's quite mature in his responses as well. Even the other day, he said, I don't think I'll be the number one at the Euros. ZH hot and cold, so that's not banging, though. I mean, he joined and won a Champions League, so you can do the lazy thing, but I don't think if he left tomorrow, Chelsea fans are going to be upset. He's got a chip on his shoulder, but you need a chip on your shoulder. I've got one. It's just the collective. I just feel he thinks a bit is woe is me, really, at times. Yeah, man. Suarez, the last one that really banged, went on to become one of the madmen. I can't lie. I do like Gakpo a lot more than I thought. You know, he looked a bit meaty at first. Still looks a bit Bandulu and meaty, but the more I see of him, the more I can get behind it. But it's a bit brazy, man. DePaul is a beast in midfield, destroyer, strong, aggressive. We lack that in our midfield. I hear that. I'm having him. Shabicha was my midfielder, or Shabozlai. Shabozlai gonna cost a pretty penny. Don't really think he plays quite the role we need, but I'm having him. What do you think? Why is the comments not coming up? This is acting. What do you think of a cheeky January bid for Matt Cash and move Ben White inside? Nah, Matt Cash can stay where he needs to stay, if I'm honest. Next right back. Arsenal fixtures before the World Cup. Southampton away, Forest at home, Chelsea away, Wolves away. It's possible to get 12 out of 12. It is. But, and respectfully to Wolves, Southampton, and definitely Southampton, because we ain't travelled well there, or Nottingham Forest at home, we should be winning them games. And if we're trying to be this, so like some of you challenging for the league, or for me, qualifying for top four, definitely going into the World Cup, because we don't know what it's going to look like on the back end. For me personally, 9 points. Anything less than 9 points, unacceptable. The dream is 10 to 12. You know, you want to beat Chelsea. We do quite well at the Bridge out of all the top 6 games of recent, but them games there go either way, sort of thing. You know, we beat Liverpool, beat Spurs, lost to United. Again, top 6, it goes either way, really and truly. And I think there's a stat going around that every top 6 game so far this season, the away side has lost. I don't know if that, I saw that on Twitter. I don't know if that's actually true, but Spurs lost to us, Liverpool lost to us, we lost to United, City lost to Liverpool. There ain't been no other top 6 clashes out there this season, has there? Well, to be fair, there's Tottenham United tomorrow, which I'll be doing a watch along for. So make sure you got your reminders set on for my videos, and you're just keeping an eye on that. I'll probably go live 8 p.m. tomorrow. But see, if we follow that logic, it could be anywhere. You know, and I personally think Leeds gave a little bit of a somewhat a blueprint, my dude, really and truly, if I'm honest with you, how to play against us. You know, obviously there was energy levels that were lacking. There was a lot of factors, really. They're going into the game, it was a lot similar to how we went against City last year, in that City had 2 games that week. You know, we were so hungry to want to put in a good performance and do well. A bit like Leeds, they lost last week. The week before, they wanted to prove to their fans they're on something. We had 2 games off the back of a hectic fixture calendar list, and we just saw, and we was at home, and it was just mad, really. So I think that has showed something. I think Leeds have shown, long gone are the days of just sitting back. Look how Everton tried to play Spurs. They just sat back and Spurs collapsed them. If you have a goal against any of the top 6 in the Prem, that is the new way. Defense is the new form of attack. You need to be sensible, of course. So, you know, Wolves away is brazy. Stamford Bridge away is brazy. Southampton, last season, they were in terrible form at St. Mary's, and they beat us. This season, at the moment, I think they've got no winning 5. Pressure on Hasenhüttl. We need to rock up there and smack them in. You know, Wolves, it's going to be difficult, but we need to go there and move to them. They're going to have a new manager by them times there. You know, you'd imagine in an ideal world, Southampton, Jesus and Saliba take the hit, and they don't play against Nottingham Forest. We need everyone, but that's at home. And respectfully to Nottingham Forest, we do need our best players available, and they could beat us. Anything can happen in the Prem and all of that jazz. But Arsenal, if Arsenal cannot beat Nottingham Forest without Saliba and Jesus, for example, so they can be back for Chelsea, I think there's something wrong with us. I'm not going to lie to you. So for me, I would say I need a guaranteed 9 points. Minimum would be 9 to 10 points. Ideally 12 out of 12, as you know. I can maneuver with 9. We can move forward with 9. Not that, when was the last time we actually drew? We don't draw. So yeah, it is what it is, man, in that regards, if I'm honest. now for the World Cup. That breaks that up nicely. Nice little talking point there, my dude. Jota to Mr. World. It's peak, man. Bear man are missing it. Kante, which is probably your last one, even though you've won it. Reece James is touch and goal. He seems quite bullish that he might be fresh home and might return to play in that. Who else is there? Quite a few players. It looks peak for them, if I'm honest with you. Not Rodrigo. Richarlison might be back. And unfortunately, God forbid, there'll be a lot of other players that are going to miss out as well, man. Eddie would benefit from a different game plan than the Jesus one. Fox in the box plan for Ed. We don't create enough chances for our strikers in the opposition's box, in my opinion, to do that. And that's not what Arteta wants, really. He wants a striker that's going to be almost like a defender. What you see Jesus do, what you see Lacazette do, like you're seeing Eddie aspire to. And I don't think Eddie, respectfully, is good enough to change the game plan. Like, if Eddie, he ain't been given a chance to discuss it, but it's not like Eddie's a 20-plus Premier League proven goal scorer, Fox in the box, like a Vardy or something where, all right, give him the chances. He's not good enough for that. And we changed the whole game plan. We've changed the whole dynamic. It harms us, really. And I do think he's evolved his game plan, and he almost is like a B-Tech, C-Tech Jesus to some degree. But yeah, man, I don't think Martinelli will be as good with his back to goal. Me neither, but I think he could do it up front. He could drop deep. He could turn in behind. He wants to be in central areas anyways. I do think Martinelli needs to be developed to that. He can play as a striker, play in his favourite position. And Arteta said he could be a striker, play in a striker, play off the left. And actually, I remember when Arsenal fans said, he can't play on the right. He can't play on the right. Has a good game against Man United on the right-hand side last season. People shut up. Remember, they said Saka can't play on the right. Boy, it's crazy, man. Graham, I hope you're doing well and safe, man. Shout out to you lot. Elite talking points. Appreciative of all of you lot's support and all of you lot's talking points. You lot make the platform. Eddie just needs to do his thing. He was banging goals in the Prem for us when he was starting. Banging subjective, but he was putting them in. If by any chance we get the young in Jan, do you think we can challenge if we are 3-4 points off the top? I don't know. You'd have to see, man. It takes more than just the young or any sort of player, but we would do a lot better. What do you think of Jonathan David? He's joint top scorer in Ligue A with Neymar, 11 games played, 9 goals, 2 assists, only 22 years of age. Had a difficult season last year, fell off a cliff last Jan, really. Decent little player. Arsenal scouted him from his days in Belgium. I'm not really convinced. I would take him as part of the squad, but they want too much peace. If that makes sense. So forget about it. Do you think Aziz and Patton will be ready for next season? You never know, but I would say from what I've seen, no, I don't think there's a single player on loan ready. I'd love to see them play, but I think they'd have to spend another year out on loan. Do your thing, man. Patton's doing very good at Blackpool. Blackpool, yeah, always mixing up the thing, man. I can't lie, I didn't rate Gakpo either. He just didn't look levels, but he's cooking right now, so fair play to him. And I guess the challenge is it a purple patch or is this you now? How often do you go live on YouTube streaming, mate? Probably more times than a lot of people care, Guaranteed one stream every day. Typically anything from 1 to 4, really. And don't forget Twitch. Chelsea played Spuds. Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that was a draw. So, yeah, fair enough. That was a draw. But every other one. So, yeah, there's that statistic I saw on the socials wasn't quite right. But it does give you food for thought so far. But it should have been a loss for Spurs. But, Chelsea didn't finish their dinner. Hopefully they play like that against us. I mean, Solanke can come of age. Just leave that at Bournemouth, bro. Chelsea different on the pot are going to be tough. Exactly, yeah, man. I can't lie. As much as I agree, Arsenal need bodies. Buying in Jan and expecting it to work out ain't how it goes. Transfers don't work like that. And that's how my thinking. We still need to buy someone. But that's my thinking with Danilo. I would love for him to sign and do well, but it'd probably be naive to expect my man to come from Brazil and settle off the field, let alone off it, settle off the field, let alone on it, and just do a madness. And January, there's kind of no room for error. January onwards, he'd be a young player. You need to give him that discount, like you've seen with Gabriel, Saliba, and the rest of them, to do dumb-ish. And I think we'd be placing too much expectation. I'm having him, but it's just something to consider. Good talking point, my dude. Big up yourself, Hector, for always being here as well. Big up the Twitch gangs. Shout out you lot, man. Jota out the World Cup, Sheg. Van der Vaart was lit. Van der Sar was at Fulham before United. But yeah, but again, we have to go all the way back. In the last 5 years, who has done it? I like what Xavi Simons is doing, I like how Xavi Simons is playing at PSV. Probably ends up back at PSG or somewhere else, but it's a good audition. It's a good audition. See what him and Gakpo are on Thursday. United fan for tomorrow. I wish you both lose, but if someone has to win, I'd rather United win than Spurs each and every time. Isaac's out of the World Cup as well, well, out to after it. But ain't Sweden didn't qualify, did they? If we're still top of the league by February, it's looking good for us for the fixtures after that. I don't know, man. I don't like to look on paper, but let's just get there and consider it. DG, when the league returns after the World Cup, we have 13 games out of the 13 home games, out of the remaining 24. The crowd are pulling us through games, so I'd be confident of picking up a lot of points. Amen, but I don't know what the dynamics are going to be. God forbid someone could be injured. There could be loss of form. There could be some external factor. We could hit a blip. I don't know. So I just want to deal with October and November, really. DG, will you be doing an FM23 stream as Arsenal again? Yeah. And don't forget Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 4:30 we play FM. Shout out Stylish. Big up DG. Content has been top class of recent, man. Keep up. I appreciate that, boy. What do you mean of recent? What do you mean of recent? What do you mean by that, my fella? What do you mean of recent? Man said of I had to pre that. It's all love, but what do you mean? What do you mean by that? Now play, man. After the World Cup, the price of players will be high, of course, man. Aye, man, bear with me. FIFA 23 soon land, man. By the end of November, it will be there, bro. Just allow me. We need to buy 2 players in Jan, preferably a backup for Partey and a backup for Saka. I hear that. We need bodies in the squad in Jan just to give other players a break. I hear that. Sweden didn't qualify. You're right, DG. How didn't Sweden make that? But well, there, to be fair, there's no Italy in it, so a couple teams were moving mad. I guess a couple teams were moving mad. No Italy in the World Cup. That must be the first one in my lifetime. Of no, crazy. At least Arsenal City was postponed this week many thingies ago. Imagine if we had to. They're gonna drag the City game, Arsenal City games out now, innit? Nothing appears, nothing new coming out in the last whatever, apart from what we've spoken about. Let me see the socials. Big up Mark Overmars, man. The levels are up. Hey, I'm not taking you in now. Yeah. So what are you saying? Like, what? You treating man like El Nene or something, or Eddie and Ketty or something, respectfully to them. Like, man just got a chance and I'm taking it. No. I've been Saliba, mate. Apparently Gabriel, well, no. That's some websites who scored. That ain't nothing real. Man, there's nothing on the socials relating to Arsenal today, folks. Apart from what we've seen. Once again, shout out Beth Mead and Saka for their nominations in world football. Fortunately, couldn't win, but we made, man. Nah, it's all love. I don't trust you now, though. I'd make a bid for Mohamed Kudus of Ajax. He looks a very good prospect, can play off the left and as a striker. Need to get Partey to have a word with him while we've gone. I like him. With him, I like a lot of players, but I just need to see a bit more. Because if it was just on liking, I'd buy a lot of players for Arsenal if I could. But without it sounding like Arsenal are Champions League winners and that, Premier League, their levels are high now. Like, it's not just about being a good player sort of thing. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy again. Yeah. You might be right. Right, Italy are moving mad. January transfer window will decide if Arsenal will be in a top 4 title race or top 4 race. Boy, if it's anything like last season, just make sure you're signing Duns, innit? DG, do you think there might be a mid-table team who might make a surge after the World Cup due to having less players? I don't know, but the way you pull it, it's got to be something to consider, of course. You know, players are going to be fresh and that. You look at, well, I know they're not mid-table, they're City, but Norway are not in the World Cup. So Haaland and Odegaard are laughing. So there must be, if we go by that logic, then other clubs might be blessed. And also the players that get shagged. Like, as much as I want Ben White, Martinelli, Gabriel, Saka, Japan's there, right? Tomiyasu. You know, they don't have a snowball's chance. But if Smith Rowe somehow got fit, if Eddie somehow scored 20 goals from now to the end of the year, well, to the World Cup, if they could all get into, well, if he could just do the right thing, go play for Ghana, if they could all go to the World Cup, it would be lovely. But if they don't, and the ones away from that, the ones that are like you have to put money that are going to go to the World Cup, if they don't, I'd be disappointed for them because that's what we all wanted to be footballers. We wanted to dream to win World Cups and play at World Cups. It's within touching distance. I'd be upset for them because it only comes around every 4 years. But from a selfish Arsenal fan point of view, that's cool. Put your feet up, relax yourself, go off to based on reports, Arsenal going off to, where is it? The World Cups in Qatar will be in Dubai for, I don't even want to say pre-season, but like a midway pre-season sort of thing, really, based on reports we've read. So, yeah, Ramsdale as well. I didn't say his name. Newcastle look strong, bro. Newcastle are doing their thing. Shout out to Eddie Howe, man. Afternoon, Noah and all the YouTube members. Arsenal in a title race. If they buy in Jan, they could stay in it until May. Key is how many sides can take points. So, see, I'll leave you lot to do it. Let's just keep winning games. And listen, when top 4 is a formality and we're 100% in it, then I might entertain some title challenges thing, all this business, people. But me, I'm just happy to be here. Let's just focus on what we need to focus on and do what we're doing in it. But Arsenal must be doing something right if we're in October, which is typically a dreaded month for Arsenal, and people talking about title challenge. So I definitely want them problems there than what we've had previously. You're right, 100%. But let's just keep our feet on the floor, man. I'd even take a midfielder on loan in Jan, Odegaard style. Got to put that energy into the universe. We defo missed out on Bruno Guimaraes, bro. We'd be laughing. Imagine if we had that. But I don't like to be that. It ain't happened. It's an L. If we had him in the squad, it would be brazy. Imagine Xhaka and him together, or Partey and Guimaraes, or Guimaraes, Odegaard. Well, we'd be cooking Brazilian business as well with what we've got going on. And I say that's the frustrating thing for me, because every now and again, there's players like Guimaraes who have been there for time. Like Newcastle was so smart. Everybody was just, I don't know what everyone was on, but everyone was just waiting and waiting. And they said, you know what, come. And now look. Random, but what are your overall thoughts on Ceballos at Arsenal? He was a top rattler. He loved to lose the ball in the final third. I mean, in the defensive third on the edge of our area. He's a bastard in a nice way, man. I remember we spoke on Newcastle. I remember him time wasting at Newcastle, and he lived to rattle dons and things like that. He's all right. Thought he'd be a bit better, but yeah, man. Paqueta. I'm not really stressed about Paqueta because he's a wavy footballer, but Paqueta was one that you knew it weren't happening, really. We signed Fabio Vieira. You've got Odegaard. They're probably only going to be the sort of areas Paqueta lines up in an Arteta midfield. So that was a myth. I think in the January window, January transfer market, Arsenal should buy players who have adapted to the Premier League, like Madison. Madison's going to be too expensive. Tossart, maybe, but it's definitely not easy to get. It's not easy to get anyone, anybody, because no one wants to sell in January. No one wants to sell good players anyway, so that's why you have to pay what they want. Nobody wants to sell. You have to pay somewhat of a premium unless there's scenarios, whether it be contracts, players wanting to leave, that you can take advantage on. Any update on Locatelli transfer? He ain't been linked with us today. But boy, you can probably give it about 2 weeks or 2 days, better yet, and Locatelli will be linked with us once again. But meaty, man. I'd have Locatelli, but no point falling for these rumors. As I say, the dream is free. The Arsenal is sold separately, man. I'm all for these names and discussing it and things like that. But yeah, man. If you need a sporting director for your FPL team, holla, my guy. I need that immediately. My FPL team's done out here. I didn't change it again. Wait, is this another game week? You can change it today, innit? I'm patterning after this. Newcastle should make top 8 this season. I have them 7th for now, bro. Newcastle's going to come stress out the whole league. Appreciate that, Riley, man. 50,000 subs and long may it continue. Appreciate you lot on YouTube and Twitch. We'll soon get to 10K on Twitch. Regarding YouTube, the journey's now to 100, innit? You got till 6:30. Yeah, I'm patterning. I can't lie. I think I have to change up my whole team. Don't know how I'm going to do it, but I need Haaland now, man. He had his blank. I know Haaland's back. So, yeah, man. My team is stressed, but I might just give up. I don't think I've changed my team in like 2-3 weeks now, and I got complacent, man. I saw myself 4th in the league with you lot. I was 3rd in my private league. I thought, I'm the real gaffer. Forgot about it. Rubbed out now, innit? Let that be a lesson to Arsenal. Don't get complacent. Don't think you've arrived. Don't think you've achieved anything. It's not done to the fat lady sings. And if the fat lady was going to sing in May, boy, she's probably stuffing her face somewhere in central London. She's nowhere near doing her rehearsals for her vocals, is she? Gakpo has been cooking so far, but I have a nervy feeling that he'll struggle in the Prem. Look how quiet Anthony has been. I don't want another Pepe scenario. I hear that. I think Anthony's just been hot and cold, man. He's had a couple bookie performances in the Europa League. At times a one-trick pony, but he looks all right, man. Seems to be breading Ronaldo too much, but what he bagged against us, he defo scored in another toxic game. It might have been City, so there's something in the lad. I'd love Skriniar, especially because his contract's running down, but PSG wanted him, the big boys wanted him, so it's peak. Congrats on 50K, well deserved, many more to come. Appreciate that. How close are you to 10K subs on Twitch? We're at 6,300 or something, so 4,000 odd. Over half the way there, but still a lot of work to be done. Gakpo looks like he thrives in open spaces. I mean, we're going to get to see across two legs now what he's really on, and Xavi Simons. On the Trent scenario, if you compare him to a Dani Alves and not a conventional right back, is he not world class? I mean, I do think, well, you could say, yeah, but I don't think he's nowhere near Dani Alves. Even Trent, when he's playing well, is nowhere near Dani Alves. He's definitely a hallmark in the Premier League, and he's definitely goes down as a legendary fullback, but nowhere near Dani Alves, nowhere near the best fullback I've seen in my life, man. There's so many fullbacks, even those that he's more blessed than going forward, that I'll take ahead of him. I'm taking Lama ahead of him, taking Prime Marcelo over him, taking Prime Dani Alves ahead of him, taking Cancelo ahead of him, probably taking Reece James ahead of him, taking Ashley Cole in his prime ahead of him, and anyone Italian. No disrespect to Trent, I think people need to lay off the geezer, man. If we stay 4 points clear into the World Cup break, we need to reinforce in Jan to push this all the way through. We need depth. Gakpo is an okay winger, but I would take other wingers over him. Some people said Holding played well against Clint. I wasn't that convinced. Think we need better stills. Waiting to see Tommy centre back for us, but will it ever happen? It might be. A move for Griezmann. 20 years too late. It's like Zaha now, man. Them ones days is gone now, bro. Should have done that time ago. Griezmann should have come before Sociedad, or when he was at Sociedad, and that. And I think he famously spoke about that, how he was en route to Arsenal, and for whatever reason it didn't bang in it. So you're gonna have to hold that one. Well, not quite a party replacement, but I wouldn't mind Moses Caicedo at all. But again, you're gonna have to Brighton are notoriously difficult difficult to do business with. So you're gonna have to put the cash down really if you want them. And if you have an appreciating asset like Caicedo, off the back of losing Cucurella and Basuma, you're not gonna be in a rush to let them go, are you? So you have to pay them what they think he's worth, which could be a lot of bands, really. What link is this that you sent? I bet this is Gabby Jesus. That's a good thing. Arsenal compared to the same corresponding fixtures last season. Fair enough. Expected goals against and goals against is lower. Expected goals is up and goals is actually up. So, yeah, man, you concede less. All that tells me, this fancy graph tells me, my guy, if you score more goals and concede less and win games, you should be all right. I've offered my... Felix is overpriced and overrated, a bit harsh. Someone's comment's gone. Where's that comment? Oh, yeah, here you go. What's your thoughts on Saka being 8th last night after carrying Arsenal back to Europe? I think he should have been at least 5th, but is where it is, man. Was Denilson a baller? No. He was shit. Scored 1-2 good goals, had a wavy celebrate. Denilson was shit, fam. Like, what fuck? Pardon my French. Denilson was meaty, man. Crazy meaty. He was robbed, man. Denilson was mad robbed. If we finish 2nd or 3rd this season, I really do think we can attract the players like Bellingham, etc. I hope so, man. DG, ancient history already, but any word on the Hendo Gabby clash? Last we heard is where I'm pretty sure you was there, where FA are investigating. Apart from that, brazy. Austin Tusty looks like he's doing decent. You know, playing in free at the back, composed, even scored a couple of goals. Likes to bring the ball out from the back well, but I'd rather just bring in another centre back. Hit the lone circuit again. There's no slightly. Denilson was robbed, man. Saliba, Saka, Gabby, new contracts are huge. Chamak or Denilson, I'd rather Denilson. Chamak, original dream seller. Chamak is where I learned never listen to them experts because they were telling me, oh, he's lit, he's this, he's that. I'm sure I went Emirates Cup that summer and he was moving lit. And then I went to the first or second Emirates game, whichever one he played. Like, nah, man, he frauded me. He had the hair, the gel, the hair. He had the vapors. He was meaty. Wenger and Ferguson used to get a crazy tune out of some mediocre players, man. Testament to both the gaffers. I wouldn't mind Youssef Fofana from Monaco. That'd be a good addition, shrewd addition for the squad. Any idea about Mudruk? You don't put the 50, 60, as we've seen today, million euros. You don't get the man in it. Simple as that. Is he worth it? I don't know. If we had to pay 60 euros, million euros for anyone, I don't think you would get him, but I'd rather put it down for that. What's that lad at Napoli? I can't say his name. It begins with a K. We've all seen him. Everyone's waxing lyrical about him. The Georgian youth plays on the left. He looks more lit to me than Mudruk, if I'm honest. He looks like there's more layers to his game than Mudruk, really. He looks like he should get the hype Mudruk is getting. Yeah, Drake's just thought he's a bizzle, man. He just puts on any club shirt, man. Got no loyalty. Saka will be looking at Foden's new contract. We need to give the boys the money. Ozil and Aubameyang got what they wanted. True, but we ain't got City money, so I do think he'll get a bread. But he's right to, Saka can sit there for his contract and say, listen, out of all the young players in the world, I finished 8th. I know it's a team collective effort, but I'm pulling this club in my own way forward. Since we signed a new deal, which was like 2020 or something like that, I've got better. I'm an appreciating asset. You want me to stay? I want to stay. Simple as that. Bun Mudruk get Neres or Trossard instead. Yeah, fam. Will buying a lot of these players restrict the growth of Walter, Swanson, Coffey, Ethan, Aziz, Patino? Like at all clubs, yeah. But apart from what? 2 of them names, boy, it doesn't really matter, really. We need to win today. If them not do it, it's calm. I can't say his name. Karachasevskila. I can't say that, man. No disrespect. It's the truth. I need to hear it on the commentators. It's the truth. The way his season is going, looking at a young 60, 70. And there'll probably be a period in the season where his poor performances in terms of goals and assists flatten out. But yeah, man. I hear that, man. Feel sorry for the Nielsen. He was a young kid that moved to England on his own and was homesick. But I still don't think even if his family came, he would be good. He was a risk that went wrong. Amen. He was just meaty, man. Big up the Nielsen, but he was rubbish, man. Come on now. He was proper rubbish. I'm sorry, he was rubbish. We used to have a lot of rub-dons them times there, but he was rubbed, man. He was rubbed, man. We did the right thing. We got out of that one. Eventually. So yeah, it is what it is in that regard still. General thoughts. If you're not following on Twitch, make sure you are, people. Tomorrow we'll be watching Spurs Man United. What other things have we got here? I wouldn't mind Gomez if you're talking about. Are you talking about Gomez of Liverpool? But he signed a new deal there, and so you don't really want to leave. Jenkinson or Bellerin, respect Bellerin. He's way better than Jenkinson, bro. That whole Nielsen team. Arsenal have had some gutter players, man. We've had some extravagant footballers, but we've also had some players out the gutter, man. Like Nielsen, Scalacci. He barely played, but Park, Rio, that Rio guy, the Japanese winger, Cedric Suarez, Marie, you lot are getting thrown in that. And there's bare players that have just been erased from this thing. I don't even know, really. But yeah, man. On that note, though, people, we've been here for an hour and 24 minutes. I don't want to bore any of you lot. As usual, first things first, appreciative to all the support you lot give my content and all the questions you've got in, whether you're on Twitch or YouTube. Please make sure you're hitting your notifications. You smash the like button. You're subscribing. If you're on Twitch, you're checking the schedule, etc., etc. Sano. These must have been money. Him, Rio, Miyachi, and that Park striker is money laundering. Sonogo must have just, I don't know what Sonogo did. He just committed fraud, man. I don't know what he was on to get that, but yeah, on that note, people, Andre Santos, big dad. You know why I leave him alone? Because he was robbed. But at least he scored against Chelsea in a Buki victory, if I remember correctly, or something, innit? So I'll leave him alone. Anyone that scores or turns up against Chelsea, anyone up of my up is a friend, man. The new Aguero, that's bugging now. But yeah, man, one love, folks, man. As usual, I'll be live again tomorrow. Wednesdays is Football Manager Day, so definitely at between either 11:30 or 1:30. Make sure you're just having a butchers. I'll be live to speak Arsenal or anything. 4:30 we play FM. Thursday, I don't think we're doing a watch along. Stay tuned for announcements. We'll definitely do late night on Wednesday. If I don't, we'll do a reaction stream and we'll talk about it on Thursday. Saturday and Sunday, I think United are playing Chelsea, so we'll be doing a watch along. It's Arsenal, Southampton. So yeah, man, it is what it is. I'll definitely do my FPL team. I need to upload my loan report for you lot, and then we're there. Watch along tonight. Allow me. Who's playing, man? I see meatiness going on. Allow me, man. Last question. Which position needs to be strengthened this season so far? For me, central midfield. But you could say centre midfield. You could say out wide, there needs to be options. You could say we're playing a dangerous game with fullback and centre half potentially, maybe even in goal. But yeah, man, you lot stay blessed. Stay safe. On that note, I'm out, man. One love. Oh, we're not done yet, yeah.
There's always just that active red flag. Defenders, I think, is like. There's always just that